All right. So
Hooray, it's starting. It is.
It is starting. Look, it's starting. And
It's starting.
hello, everybody. Welcome to theonering.net.
And bringing you another
Torn
live
Tuesday.
Another live episode live.
Live from another location.
As opposed to
brick
dead.
wall. This is not a set. That is real brick. That's real old brick.
I've just got to try one of these on. Just because everyone's all about my hats.
All right.
So
we're all about cool hats today and cool shirts. Look.
Got a brand new hat I've got to try on. Oh my gosh, check this out. Presto Changeo. Oh yeah.
That's fresh.
Batman. Awesome. This is great. I've got to get one of these. I love this hat. Very loud.
I like it. I like the red.
Why do they say it's very loud? Maybe.
Is it very loud?
Is it loud?
Sometimes it's too quiet. Sometimes you can't hear it at all.
We have appropriate sound levels, and the audio
sounds
is good.
Teterus sounds good. So
Teterus, guess what? Teterus.
My sister says sound.
Sounds great. Yes. Hello, Murtaugh. How are you doing?
Northerner.
And I can see. Hello there, everybody. Teterus. Today is a very special day for you because we are going to launch the first of new articles that Teterus has actually provided for the OneRing.net. He's written a really cool article about Chinese language and Spanish language translations from Tolkien. And it's really super cool.
Really?
Yes, and it took some extra work because we had some...
Do we have a Turkish edition?
We had
or
one,
Russian edition?
Maybe, but I'm sure we have international fans all over the world who can provide other angles on this approach. But Mr. Teterus is going to have to forgive us. It took about a few extra days to get the Chinese characters to show up correctly on the document. But we've got an interesting article that we're going to show later on after our webcast. So, Teterus, you're going to be launching a brand new article.
And see, that's
my hat's off to you for that.
That's what the One Ring is all about, is that, if you have a good idea for an article, submit it. You can send, if you go to theonering.net, you can email us with a form some articles or some ideas for articles that you're thinking about writing, and someone will answer it.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
It's all volunteer. The One Ring is all volunteer. And in fact, we had the volunteers out in full force this last weekend, fulfilling shirt orders, didn't we?
We did. Oh, there was a lot. There was a lot of shirt orders, and
a lot of shirt orders.
And I have to say, we had brand new designs of Peter's dragon, and of course, we had the ever popular Obey, Obey design, which continues to be our biggest seller, unless I'm mistaken.
It's still popular.
Then we had a very quick flash sale of special commemorative Vote Bilbo, #VoteBilbo shirts.
And we've got more cool stuff coming from fans. In fact, we just reconnected with a fan who designed the logo on the One Ring Net iPhone app, which is free. And we haven't spoken to him. We haven't chatted with him in a couple years now. And so he's got some T-shirt designs. And so I think we're playing around with different ways of communicating these kind of specials, whether it's like a C2E2 exclusive this week, or it's another flash sale, 24 hours, that's it.
That is this weekend.
Yeah. So we've got... what we're saying is sign up to our email list, our newsletter list, because we're ramping that up. We haven't been doing regular newsletters.
No, the newsletters used to go out very, very regularly, and guess what? They will again.
Yeah, again. The One Ring is all volunteer, so if the person who is managing the newsletter just has a baby or two and runs out of time, then
then we need other volunteers.
Then we need someone else to it's all.
Yeah.
Who was helping us on this weekend? I mean, we had over 200 shirts of
well, let's see.
Stuffing envelopes, folding shirts, labeling stuff,
and even our good friend Northrunner. Hello, Pete. Good to see you again, sir. Always.
Hello.
He just got his shirt in the mail yesterday, and it arrived all in one thing.
There were a lot of international orders, right?
Yes.
We were posting some of those pictures.
We were pulling people off the street, out of the soup line, saying, "You want a job? I got a job for you. Come in here, fold the shirts, stuff the shirts, send them in the mail. We gave you a job, and you got a job." No, seriously, we had Rasputin, the evil Balrog, who was one of our newest members of the Torn staff. She came by to help.
Yeah, Black Milk Clothing. They're based in Australia, and we are definitely friends with them. Have been for several months, and we're actually. Anyway, stay tuned around San Diego Comic-Con. We might have some cool stuff happening with the One Ring and Black Milk. In the meantime, we've got these are not pre-order anymore. They're actually order. Peter's Dragon shirts. I remember the funny story about this shirt is that I came up with the idea.
Murtaugh wants the story. It's funny that you're telling the story because Murtaugh says, "What does it mean?"
Well, yeah. Well, Peter's Dragon. So I came up with this idea of doing a rip on Pete's Dragon, the classic Disney animated live-action film that
was 70s.
So cheesy. It was like the third movie in a series. That you had Bedknobs and Broomsticks, you had The Incredible Mr. Limpet, and then you had Pete's Dragon. You had like 3 movies in a row that used live action and then animated cartoon characters in it. And I remember Pete's Dragon failed miserably at the box office.
Did Pete's Dragon fail miserably? Helen Reddy got an Oscar nomination for Best Song for singing "Candle on the Water," but it was like Disney wanted to do an Old West movie, and there with the little orphan boy stuck out in the Old West, he makes friends with a dragon. An animated dragon.
A big green dragon.
But you know what? It wasn't even an Old West situation.
We're live, Pippin.
We are live, Pippin. It looked like it was in the Old West, but what it really was like at some lighthouse on the eastern coast. It was at some lighthouse somewhere. Anyways, it was a wacky, cheesy movie.
So I just remember having to watch it because, you know, as strict as my parents were, we couldn't watch G.I. Joe cartoons or Transformers or anything with violence or action, but Pete's Dragon was okay. So I just remember this film. I don't remember at all what it's about. I don't remember anything. It's just a period, like, just totally blocked out my mind. I just remember the name Pete's Dragon and a big green dragon. And I thought, well, one morning I said, wait, Peter Jackson. Peter Jackson's directing a dragon movie, the dragon movie, Smaug the Magnificent. Smaug the Terrible in the new Hobbit movie. I thought, well, now's the perfect time. It's not Pete's Dragon, it's Peter's Dragon.
No, Aragalen. The dragon that was pink was from the Sword in the Stone.
Sword in the Stone.
And that was Madam Mim, who had changed herself into a pink dragon.
Yes.
However, the design of that animated dragon was almost exactly the same as Pete's Dragon, which showed up on the silver screen about 8 or 10 years later, much later. But
the coincidence of coming up with this Pete's Dragon. So we've been working with our friend Chris Lyons, who is a fantastic designer over in Indiana. Hi, Chris. And you know, we always, like, anytime anyone at the One Ring comes up with a shirt idea, we kind of bounce it around on the email, like, hey, what about this idea, or what about that idea, or, you know. And so it's kind of like a group effort. To someone comes up with an idea, a few people riff on it, you know, come up with concepts, and then we go with it. And so we came up with a few different ideas. Calasuri did, and Chris Lyons did, I did. And then Chris had this idea of doing just the dragon's eye, because that's all we know of Peter's Dragon. All we know about Peter's Dragon so far is the eye.
And a segment of tail. But you can't show a segment of tail on a T-shirt that doesn't have anywhere near as much impact as that final shot.
And so we Chris went into Photoshop and from scratch drew something based on you know, what he remembered, the final shot, you know, the flaming eyeball, and then we used the font, a font similar to the movie of Pete's Dragon. And coincidentally, the day we finished the design, literally we were ready to go, and Disney announced they're rebooting Pete's Dragon.
For some reason, some film that they made in the past, they're going to remake it. Disney has remade almost every film that they've ever made. They've been
And this is
remaking
after Star Wars announcement. Like
yes.
this
Oh,
is
yes.
after all these new sequels and stuff.
as if they don't have enough things to worry about with taking on the Star Wars
like
franchise.
and Tron 2 just kind of didn't make a ton of money. It was successful, but it was so
Tron Legacy was so good.
it was
so
very good. One of my-
underrated.
It
so
was
underrated.
so good, and it was one of the best 3D movies. But it
Yes.
didn't. It wasn't like a major blockbuster.
But look at this. I mean, Disney has done a remake of Escape from Witch Mountain.
Yeah, they have.
They're doing a remake of Pete's Dragon. They're going to do a remake of every crappy 60s or 70s film that they've ever made. Next up, we're going to get a remake of the Apple Dumpling Gang, I'm sure. And instead of Don Knotts, it's going to star what's his name, the blonde guy with the crooked
James
nose.
Franco.
Not the
Oh,
no.
yeah, Owen Wilson.
Yeah, Owen Wilson in a remake of the Apple Dumpling Gang.
You know
Don't
what-
be surprised.
You know what?
It's
I
gonna
can't wait.
happen.
There's two remakes
gonna happen.
I cannot wait for.
What?
Flight of the Navigator
Oh, really?
and The Cat from Outer Space.
Yeah, the cat from outer space. I loved the cat from outer
Yeah!
space. It was so nuts. And they're probably gonna do all of that crap. But
Are we outdoors? No, we've got a fan right in front of us.
No, here's the funny thing. You can see my wind blowing. You can see my hair. My hair is blowing in the wind. So
Disney is trying to take over the world. They're doing 10 new Star Wars films and 20 new Marvel films and every Pixar movie and every Spielberg movie and now they're drawing from the well. You know,
But you see, Muriel, The Rescuers Down Under was not a remake. The Rescuers
it
Down
was a
Under was a
sequel.
complete separate sequel, and it was a lot of fun, and it was quite good, actually.
Is there going to be a road trip to Dragon Con? Speaking of dragons, well, it is the year of the dragon.
It's the year of the snake,
It is the
according to the Chinese zodiac.
according to Middle Earth
Ah.
filmology, is
Yes.
the year of the dragon, and yeah, we're planning a lot of stuff, and so we kind of put all of our eggs in the basket known as the one unexpected party. The one expected party with unexpected bills.
The Oscar, yes,
we're working through a lot of stuff this year
have
to make it happen.
the OneRing.net really needs to financially reestablish itself
Absent-minded professor.
after the expenses of our Oscar party this February. It was a big event.
And
It
as
was
much
very
as much
expensive
fun
event.
as Vote Bilbo was,
Yes.
with no advertisers knocking on our door. Which
not
is kind
soon.
of a bummer. I really thought that companies with deep pockets would kind of say, "Hey, ringers actually can do something good,
Amazing things. We
and-
can do amazing things.
And
Now, Pete Northrunner had just asked us a second ago about I don't get the obey joke. For those of you who are familiar with very famous street artist Shepard Fairey,
here in L.A.
Shepard Fairey, who did have his origins in Los Angeles, but is now a worldwide and well-known commodity for being a public street artist. One of his earliest campaigns in the world of street art was Obey. And
Giant. Obey Giant.
It had giant and the word giant, and it said Obey at the bottom, and it had this over-duplicated, over-Xeroxed image of a one-time famous wrestler, a professional wrestler, Andre the Giant. And Andre the Giant has a posse, and all those other connected stickers and art blocks and stencils, really interesting stencils, that Shepard Fairey did all over the country and all over Europe. So, we decided if our good buddy Sauron the Dark Lord, if Sauron the evil Lord of Mordor, of the Lord of the Black Land, if he was going to have a political poster, we decided to spoof a political poster that was familiar to everyone because Shepard Fairey did the famous Hope poster. So, we combined everything all together. There it is, Shepard Fairey joke. So there you go, Pete. You've been educated on street artists of the past 10 years.
And one of the things we were worried about is that Obey Giant became this thing, and then the Hope Obama poster just became an even bigger thing. And
yes.
Most ripoffs, or not ripoffs, but most things inspired by that aesthetic come across as cheap knockoffs. And so we are again, the talented designer Chris Lyons he had this original piece that had this antique look, and
Yes.
set it apart. That it didn't look like a ripoff, and it looked like inspired by. And so we went with it, and the response has been great. And the response has been great on this little Peter's Dragon. I didn't think a lot of people would get the relation. Like, I don't know how many people. I remember Pete's Dragon, but I didn't know if a lot of people do. And
I remember Helen Reddy standing by that lighthouse, and yes, somebody in the chat just told us that it was supposed to be set in Maine, in New England, even though it looked like it was shot in Southern California. Of course it looked like that. But I remember Helen Reddy standing there with a wind machine blowing on her going, "I'll be your candle on the water." They were nominated for an Oscar for that song. I don't believe they won the category, but Pete's Dragon is one of the most infamous live-action animated failures in the Disney canon, and I'm really surprised they're going to throw another $150 million.
Well, Tron was a terrible failure.
Financially, you mean?
Not
artistically.
Financially, I mean, it ruined Disney Pictures up until...
No, really. I thought
they had so many animators and talented artists working on Tron.
I thought Tron Legacy made its money back.
No, the first Tron.
Oh, the first Tron.
And so...
okay.
Yeah.
1981.
Right.
Was it 82?
And Pete's Dragon, it's a risk. But that just goes to show that I appreciate Disney, trying to reward the fans that have stuck with them.
I love this cool Batman hat. This is very cool. Well, the fans who stick with Disney, that's one conversation. The other conversation is Disney trying to protect their copyrights. That's why they've been in this constant fight with the estate of A.A. Milne, who wrote the Winnie the Pooh books. And Disney is doing straight-to-video and big theatrical Winnie the Pooh movies because they're trying to reassert in the U.S. courts their copyright control of Winnie the Pooh characters, even though the characters originally belonged to the author, not to Disney.
Right.
It's a whole other weird conversation about what they're doing. But moving on from from film, let's move away from film and talk about television, because the fantasy sci-fi audience is about to be gobsmacked by not one, not two, but three, count them, three all at once big reality TV shows that are throwing their hat in the ring whoosh, all at the same time. And we just got this news all within the past 2 weeks. Just a couple of weeks ago, AMC cable television network announced that they're going to pick up a pilot for a new TV series called Geek Out that is hosted and co-written by the guy who did the Fanboys movie.
Remember the Fanboys, about those four fans that try to break into Skywalker Ranch?
Written by Ernest Cline.
Written by Ernest Cline,
yep.
and he had a big old beat-up van and four friends.
Yes.
Grimlock owned a big sliding door van just like that. In fact, Grimlock was on so many TV shows between 1999 and 2005 that like Grimlock and his van became synonymous with Star Wars fandom. And then suddenly this movie comes out called Fanboys, and there's a guy, a heavyset guy with a big old van and sleeps with a lightsaber.
Where'd that come from?
Where'd that come from?
Yeah, really.
And so we've actually worked with the Weinstein Company in promoting Fanboys, and that was really cool of them to kind of bring the real fans into the fake fan actor movies.
According to the news that we've got, AMC plans on doing a pilot. That means there may not yet be a full season, but the TV series is called Geek Out. It is the first of three television shows that we're going to start talking to you about. The other one that has been announced is from the producers of The Amazing Race, which is broadcast on ABC network here in the United States.
Yeah.
And it's a new show called The Quest. And there's a third show that you mentioned to me, Justin.
Yep.
And it's called
King of the Nerds.
King of the Nerds, which is being brought by TBS. So
this is the second season of King of the Nerds.
Really? Now casting
And-
season 2.
And the first one actually, one of our One Ring volunteers, and she actually hosted our coverage of the New York premiere of The Hobbit. Ashley, one of her best friends was on King of the Nerds season 1. So they really do hire nerds. These aren't just just actors that are pretending to be nerdy and to get on a game show and make some money. $100,000 to be exact.
Well, that's the top prize on RuPaul's Drag Race as well.
But and not only that, I think they get paid like $500 a week.
Yeah.
I think it's like $500 or $1,000 a week to be on the show. So TBS King of the Nerds first season was successful enough that they're casting season 2 right now. And yes.
Have you seen any of the first season?
I watched a couple episodes because the One Ring volunteer staffer Ashley, her best friend from high school, was on the show.
Yeah.
And she's like, he is a nerd, and this show is legit. And,
Yeah. How did the show look? Did it resemble other existing competition shows?
It looked like something straight out of like a cable. It looked like a cable network game show.
Do they eliminate a contestant every week?
Pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
So,
right.
but if you look at the this is on our Facebook page, by the way. We've posted the casting thing. Do you build robots or programs for fun? Are you obsessed with superheroes? Are you in D&D or World of Warcraft fan? Do you love sci-fi? It's everything. Game of Thrones, Star Wars, Star Trek, Lord of the Rings, Battlestar Galactica.
So you guys,
It's nerds. It's
you
nerds.
guys, they're looking. You guys need to understand this. On one show, they're looking for certain types of geeks who are into video games and who are into all other platforms of storytelling that are related to speculative fiction
And basically,
fantasy, sci-fi.
what that show
all that.
what that show turned into is that who's more well-rounded, a Star Wars fan or a Lord of the Rings fan or Battlestar Galactica. That's kind of where the show ended up, not through any script or anything, just from the people that came on the show.
Yes.
How nerdy were they?
I would like to see some of the first season to see how it ended. You know what else is notable is that the AMC pilot for Geek Out is a different type of reality show. It's not a competition show. It is not based on a select cast of contestants who are, faced with challenges, and they have to compete with each other over these challenges every week in a weekly elimination to try and find the very top one. That is not what Geek Out promises to be. According to the program notes that we got...
Where are we? Wait. Where are we on King of the Nerd? We're
Well,
switching shows?
No, I'm just comparing. I'm
Okay.
comparing so that you guys know the difference.
Well, let's
King of the Nerds
yeah.
throws itself as a real competition-based show.
It is an actual competition, and so yeah, let's finish up with this. This is
Well, I was
if
going
you
back
if
to
you
where I
go to nerdking.net, this is where they have the application. You can submit your video, and the point is that if you're cast, they'll fly you out here. And you'll be part of the show for the 6 or 8 weeks that it takes to film it. Usually these things take about 6 to 8 weeks. And they'll pay you for your time. They'll fly you out. All you have to do is submit a video. And I'm telling you, it doesn't matter where you're from. If you want to be on the show and you think you have a good chance of being on it, submit.
You should absolutely
because
submit.
we've been part of some television shows around LA. They do cast from the 4 corners of the country.
They do. Well, that leads me to...
If you're interesting.
That leads me to Tolkien Girl, who's in our live chat. Thank you for being part of our live show, everybody. And Tolkien Girl was asking, what about me, living in Canada? How do I get the chance to apply for one of these competition shows? Why not? Just send a submission.
The application. Yeah.
Go right ahead and send a submission.
Look at the application, and look, you Canadian citizen is an option on King of the Nerds right
Yeah,
here.
that's right, Tolkien Girl. So if you want to be on King of the Nerds, but she was asking specifically about the quest, and we don't know yet about.
So the quest. We just posted this today. We just heard about it.
Yeah. Now, let me give one last quick note, because we started off with this conversation talking about Geek Out, which says that they're going to visit anybody, and they're going to profile anybody as a single person, and they're going to bring them a special thing, a special experience based upon their geekdom that they would otherwise never have access to. So Geek Out on AMC is not presenting itself as a competition show, but as a profile show.
Right.
They'll come and look at your house, look at your collection of Transformers toys.
Kind of like hoarders for geeks.
Kind of like hoarders for geeks.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, and they're going to look at all the special tattoos you have of Elvish language and Dwarvish language, or whatever your fandom may be, and then they're going to bring something to you that is unique and special that you wouldn't have access to, that fulfills your fandom. So that's how Geek Out is different from the King of the Nerds show, and this very special news that we just launched yesterday, or was it today we launched the story? The story about The Quest, which is coming from the multiple Emmy Award-winning production team that makes The Amazing Race. And as an avid fan of The Amazing Race, I have to say, it's still, to this day, one of the best reality competition shows on television.
Which one?
The Amazing Race.
Yeah.
And they win, every year they win Emmy after Emmy after Emmy for Best Primetime Reality Show. They beat out Survivor. They beat out all these other shows. It's really fascinating.
Here's a little, where is it at? Here's what that fanboy, the Ernest Klein from Geek Out. So that's Ernest Klein. He looks like a geek.
Yes.
Author, screenwriter, fanboy, aficionado.
There's much more information on the Boing Boing version of that story.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes, there is.
In Geek Out, Klein and his co-host will travel the country and give obsessed fans the surprise of a lifetime with a special experience related to their obsession.
That's right. And it looks like the show Geek Out is looking for a co-host still.
So write into AMC and tell them we got a host with the most.
We've got QuickBeam ready to co-host with Ernest Klein. I hope that Ernest Klein got my email. I hope he did. We have a lot to talk about, Mr. Man.
That's right.
A lot to talk about. But now, the Amazing Race producers have combined with one of our friends from the Lord of the Rings trilogy, Mr. Gordon Pattison, who was deeply involved in all interactive community building and marketing with the Lord of the Rings trilogy, and now he's involved with The Quest. And we posted a story, and it just...
that confused me, because I thought... Because Paul Gordon is the casting director, and then Gordon Pattison used to head up marketing at New Line.
Gordon Pattison was in a very special quadrant of doing online marketing at New Line, and he was handling all the stuff with online community building with the Lord of the Rings in particular.
This is not Jersey Shore. Oh, darn.
So
Jersey Shire.
Didn't we post this story earlier today?
Yes.
Yes. Our good friend and fellow compatriot, Mr. Sayre, and you need to follow him. Follow him on Twitter at Mr. Sayre. That's MrCere. Follow. Oh no, that's not his handle. Forgive me, Larry. I'm gonna mention you on Twitter, but you got to follow Mr. Sayre. I'll tell you what his Twitter handle is at the end of the broadcast.
Just look at the One Ring.
And yeah, and go look at that story we just posted.
So the Quest is actually doing castings, public castings, just like they do on American Idol and America's Got Talent and everything. They're doing castings at Comic-Cons.
They're not doing one at San Diego, though, which is unusual.
Well, they haven't announced it yet because casting ends in May. And San Diego's in July.
That's a little bit late in the game.
That's late in the game.
Okay.
So Chicago and Seattle are this week.
Yeah, right now, in 2 days. In 2 days, if you are in Seattle, all of our audience in Seattle should pay attention, and it's going to happen coinciding with the EMP Fantasy Exhibit that's opening April 25th. That's in 2 days. If you're in Seattle, jump on this, look up the story, and we have the information so you can submit.
Chicago,
you can
make
submit.
an effort. I know there's, anytime there's a TV casting, there's a huge long line, but the casting producers actually are watching the line as well. And when I was on American Idol, the casting directors were always watching the line, and even though they look like security and they have a little thing in their ear, but the what you do in line in the crowd reflects just as much as what you do in front of the hosts. And so if you see a big long line for this show called called The Quest, and there's a long line, but there happens to be someone like Cliff who is in line, and people are kind of like, circled around him or listening. If they're listening to, if other people in line are kind of focused on you, and you've obviously stood out from the pack as attracting attention,
yes,
either through doing something funny or for whatever reason, if you attract attention in the midst of fellow fans, producers will single you out, and even if you don't do well and you're really nervous in front of the casting people, they will see that you do have something special, and people are willing to follow you. If people are willing to listen to you and watch you and follow you and engage with you in person,
yes,
without being famous, you're just
yes,
another fan.
Yes.
TV producers want that.
Good point.
They can expose that on a national scale, because if it's not necessarily a popularity contest, it's just a personality thing. If you've got the personality that other people are attracted to, it's going to come on camera as well, and viewers are going to want to watch you because of that.
Thank you, North Runner, for posting that. Yes, he's Mr. LDC. That's correct. And thank you very much for doing that. And you know what? That's a nice point that you made, Justin. The personality factor is what these producers are looking for. And especially when you're talking about a broader audience, which is going to be on a major network show, it's going to be a little less niche than it would be over on a secondary cable channel. Do you know what I'm saying? What people they're looking for on the AMC show are probably going to be a little bit different than the folks they want participating on The Quest.
The Quest is more like a CBS show, like prime time.
Total.
No cursing, nothing like it.
It's going to be a Survivor type, Amazing Race type show, and it's going to be for a very broad market, a big broad audience. And according to the information we've been getting, they're trying to make this be a teachable moment, so that non-nerds and the other non-geeks who are out there, i.e. the bullies, the meatheads, the jocks, all those people who don't quite get it, they're going to be taught a little bit more about the personalities and the quirks and the idiosyncrasies that make geeks who they are, and the kind of passions that they have. And making a teachable moment out of a national, big-scale reality competition series is very ambitious.
So Seattle,
very
Chicago,
ambitious.
Texas, at Dallas, Phoenix, New York, and Philadelphia. So far, those are the cities where they're going to have open auditions, and this is going to be a legit show. And I want to see.
Are you going to audition?
Ringer.
Are you going to audition?
No, but
really?
I want to see a one ringer get on the show.
Yeah, I would like that too. We need a ringer, a really cool ringer.
A ringer. We want a ringer for this thing.
We want a real ringer. Let's go back to full screen, shall we? Pretty amazing that all three of these shows have all come together at the same time. What do you suppose is the confluence that put all three of these projects on the map? Was it our behavior as a fan audience around the Hobbit film? Is it because of renewed interest in Game of Thrones and all the fantasy fans everywhere just going crazy?
I think
eating up this stuff.
I think Game of Thrones. It's not just nerds watching Game of Thrones. Everybody's watching Game of Thrones.
And the Hobbit. Everybody's watching the Hobbit.
And I think part of that influence is the takeover of Nerdist. I mean, this guy's coming from a little podcast in one corner of 1% of the world, and now he's got TV shows and everything going on. Mm-hmm. Don't deny, and I think the name Nerdist has legitimized the culture. I think that the name itself and the fact that this particular group is being successful and they're called Nerdist is just good overall for nerds in pop culture. And I think that's why you're seeing shows like The Quest, from the producers of The Amazing Race, and you've got shows like Geek Out, you know, they're like, and they're making big announcements. They aren't trying to keep it underground and like, hey, let's test the waters and see if people will watch it. No, they're like, you know, these are big announcements and big casting and spending a lot of effort to go multiple cities to make these shows happen as soon as possible.
Hey, the Happy Hobbit girls would be great to apply for.
I was the first one to say that.
That's great.
I was the first one to say that the Happy Hobbit girls need to be going out for all these shows.
That's true. Very good point, Moore. And I agree with Q, who has actually said that for me, the point of being a geek is loving whatever you love, whether anyone else thinks it's cool or not. I appreciate that sentiment very much. But sometimes, when you find yourself in the company of similar people who love the same kind of thing that you love, that feeds the passion. It fuels great conversation. It makes for great friendships that are built. You walk into a room with a bunch of Miyazaki fans that start talking about, oh gosh, I really loved Princess Mononoke, but then, you know, a few years later, you know, Miyazaki says he's going to retire and never make another film again, and you've got stuff to talk about with people because they love that artwork, they love those films, and you can center these conversations around Battlestar Galactica, Doctor Who, of course, Lord of the Rings trilogy, Harry Potter, Twilight. In their case, they're fans of, you know, Camp Edward or Camp the other dude, Taylor Lautner, whatever. And it's like, you know, there's fandom, and then there's community that is built around a fandom. That's a whole nother aspect.
You know that, and there's also this kind of religious devotion to the things you love, and the desire to tell the world about it and preach it. You know, there's some avenues of religion that say, you know, if you have a platform, use it for good and use it to get the word out. Well, you know, the same works for fandom. If you end up having a platform to speak to a lot of people about geek and nerd culture, you know, you use it for good, and that's what Joss Whedon has done. That's what J.J. Abrams is doing. That's who's that redhead head girl, Geek and Sundry? I don't know. And like they're not just actors and directors, you know, that you know, or want to exploit nerd culture. They grew up as nerds like us.
What do you think Kevin Smith is? Kevin Smith is one of the biggest nerds on the planet, and I think, to his credit, he's never stepped foot out of that. No. He's never pretended to be someone he wasn't. He's never pretended to be otherwise. He's always embraced his inner geek and his outer geek.
You know, that's a good example, too. Kevin Smith is a nerd just as much as J.J. Abrams is a nerd.
Yeah.
And I think if you ever got them in the same room on the same show, they could go toe-to-toe. As far as their knowledge, the difference, and this is a personality thing, and fans, you know, kind of split into kind of two groups where
Felicia Day. Thank you, Darth Strider. Thank you.
Some fans feel it's not right to make money and be successful, financially successful in your fandom.
Really?
You know, at the expense of other fans, and another group, and that's kind of the Kevin Smith thing. Why isn't Kevin Smith directing Star Wars movies and Star Trek movies and Transformers movies and Marvel movies? Why isn't Kevin Smith doing all this?
I'm really quite surprised that Kevin Smith has not stepped up to bat to do any Marvel projects.
He doesn't want to do movies. And
why not?
On the opposite side,
he's a competent filmmaker,
and on the opposite side, you've got J.J. Abrams. It's like, yes, I will do it. And Joss Whedon stepping up and you know, giving the third biggest movie of all time.
J.J. Abrams can't say no to a project.
And,
I mean,
and Joss Whedon, you know, stepping up and wasn't afraid of being the fan that brings it.
So this brings this good point, very good point. And the question that Era Galen has put forward is, what is the difference between a geek and a nerd? And I suppose, well, over time, the nomenclature within pop culture has changed. Over time, since I was a kid in the 70s and growing up as a teenager in the 80s, the word nerd and geek were synonymous. and being
Interchangeable.
Interchangeable, yeah, they were almost the same.
I
being a nerd was always like the dirty word because it allowed anybody an excuse to bully you, and you could just simply be a person wearing glasses. You could simply be a person with the wrong type of shirt, or maybe you had high water pants, or somebody wanted to make fun of your shoes, or whatever. That was just a throwaway word. But if you're a geek means that you geek out on something and that you have a specific passion for something that is so detailed, you know more details about it than by rights you should. If you are a stamp collector, what are they called? A philatelic. If you're a stamp collector, you're a geek about collecting historical stamps, right? You know what I mean? If you're a bird watcher or ornithoptery, you're a geek about bird watching. If it happens to be studying Tolkien's Dwarven and Elvish languages and rereading the Silmarillion over and over again until you can memorize all the Elvish bloodline and all the children of Hurin and everything in between dwarves and elves and men, then you're a geek about Tolkien. And I suppose it has a connotation of positivity because you're automatically assumed to be an expert on something in particular. I know people who look at me and say, I'm not a geek about anything. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. And then I say, wait a minute, you watch True Blood on HBO. And he's like, oh yeah, I love True Blood. I never miss an episode. And I pointed out to my friend, I said, you are a geek for True Blood. That is your thing. You know the characters, you know the subplots, you know all the details. That's what you geek out about. That's your thing.
There's a ton of different descriptions. Everybody's got an opinion on how you tell the difference. And
look at that.
I've always come to the I assign geeks as consumers of content and nerds creators of content.
Oh, that's a very good distinction.
So a geek, excellent. You could be a gleek, a geek for Glee. You could be a geek for Star Wars. You consume it. You watch every show,
yes.
Every movie, every game, every comic, everything. You just need. And
you learn, you absorb it. It becomes part of your consciousness.
You can speak the language. You know the different. You know what IG-88 means. You can speak and tell me about it. Nerds are the ones that create. Nerds take it to the next level and create a Star Wars fanfic, or they start shipping characters in Lord of the Rings, or they create a Minecraft. Balin's Tomb of Moria. Like, the nerds are the ones that just start creating. They actually spend time and effort and resources and money to create the costumes. They're creators. Either they create games, they create animations, they create videos, and that's how I've always kind of separated geek and nerd. But that's just me.
I kind of get that, and I appreciate that you made that connection. Yeah, I will give nerds credit for being, the programmers. These are the engineers and the builders and the writers. These are the people who work hardest.
And there's nothing wrong with either
hardest.
one.
They work. Yeah. No, there's nothing wrong. Not in this day and age. It's all changed. Since I was a kid, it's all changed. Thank God. What about you? Don't you think?
I think. All I can do is give have an opinion on from my frame of reference, and for instance, like I'm doing this, I do this show and we do all the conventions and we help out with the T-shirts. I like to create. I'm creating. I help create this stuff. I haven't read The Hobbit. I didn't read Lord of the Rings until after all the movies come out. I don't want to consume. I'm not consuming everything that's out there. I don't play Lotro. The last Lord of the Rings game I played was on Xbox One. Yes. Return of the King co-op, which was super fun. I'm not. That's why I don't classify myself as a geek. Because I'm not consuming all this, but I'll readily admit,
Yeah, I have to admit.
Nerd culture, I'm all in. That's why I'm in with Nerdist. And this, again, this goes... It proves my pack. I just realized Nerdist himself is a creator.
Chris Hardwick?
He creates. He creates shows and podcasts. He's put together a whole team of people that create YouTube channels, and they create their own podcasts. So I think nerds create and geeks consume.
My goodness
That's
gracious.
my argument.
I like that. I like that distinction, and I think we'll go with that. Tolkien Girl, our friend up in Canada, I heard you say up in the chat about 15 minutes ago that you didn't have what it takes to apply for any of those shows. Why would you say something so self-defeatist?
Yeah.
Right off the get-go.
Right off the get-go.
Without even having tried. Not only do I recommend you check your head at the door, but I recommend you have an attitude adjustment and actually go forth proudly and put your best foot forward and apply anyways. Who knows?
Don't be afraid.
You don't know. You don't know what you don't know.
You don't know what you don't know. You don't know what they're looking for. I mean,
know.
there's been many casting on people that got onto shows. You know, I went to high school with this girl Tiffany, and she ended up years later being on the 3rd season of American Idol.
Really?
And with a different name and a different hair color.
Yeah.
And a whole different thing. Like
back when American Idol was a good show.
Well, you just don't know. But where this conversation coming from? Oh, because you don't know what the producers are looking for. And some people, we were talking about Kevin Smith and J.J. Abrams, and Kevin Smith is kind of like, I don't want to create anything in the nerd culture, and J.J. Abrams is like, I'll create if you want me to create, I'll create. It's not a confidence thing. It's just a choice, and there's nothing wrong with either doing things either way. And I think that a lot of people don't want to be the herald of geek. You know,
right.
Some people don't want to go out for the show. So I would think that the Happy Hobbit girls would be perfect for these shows. Equally as much as the Hillywood Show girls.
Sure, the Hillywood Show girls.
Two pairs of sisters that both live together, that both create YouTube shows about Tolkien fandom and all the nerd stuff that they love. I think they both have an equal thing. But I think one of those pairs would say, "Oh, that's below me," or I don't want to be known as that. I don't want to be known as a reality star. And
for heaven's sake.
I don't want to be known as the fan of fans. I don't want that pressure. I don't want to represent anybody. And I don't want and I'm saying it doesn't matter how you get your name out there. Like this show, if you want to entertain people, then you want to entertain as many people as possible. And doing a TV show is a quick way of exposing your likes and beliefs and your fandom to everybody, and so have fun with it.
You should have.
Grimlock never said no to a TV show.
That's right. And you know what? I know for a fact that when George Lucas was a kid, he was bullied too. Our friends are here in the chat having an ongoing conversation about this. Just because you are a passionate geek about particular things, and you have a creative edge, and you have an involvement, an appreciation, and an involvement with speculative fiction and all these worlds of fantasy and sci-fi that we love so much, because you have that quality, you should nurture it and you should embrace it, my dear Tolkien girl. And George Lucas was bullied when he was a kid. Believe me, he was. And look what he ended up doing. He applied himself, and he took his creativity to the max. And he went to film school and took a great interest in storytelling that inspired him, and look where his career went as a storyteller. You never know.
George Lucas.
You never know.
George Lucas was a nerd because he created, and then after he got money from the first Star Wars, he didn't make any more Star Wars. He let other people make the movies, and he went out and built Avid and Pixar and Skywalker and THX, and he created modern Hollywood.
How much do you want to bet that Joss Whedon, J.J. Abrams, and Gene Roddenberry, and all these great creators of some of the best sci-fi and fantasy, George R.R. Martin, how much money do you want to bet? And it's a bet that you'd lose. How much money do you want to bet that those creators of amazing stories and films and television were trod upon and, not encouraged by their peers? You have to pick yourself up by your bootstraps. And you've got to make the dream real.
It doesn't matter what It doesn't matter what people say or do.
Absolutely, it doesn't matter.
If you love it. Here's the thing. Here's why George Lucas was bullied as a kid. Because look at his reaction when the world bullied him for the prequels.
Oh, didn't they?
Oh my God! I bet you he was having horrendous
Murtaugh,
emotional
I'm gonna
flashbacks.
I'm gonna get to your question, Murtaugh, in a minute. I saw your question 3 times now. We'll get to that.
I think George Lucas was absolutely bullied as a child.
He was. We know for a fact. He stayed in his garage tinkering with engines and didn't play with his friends. We know for a fact.
And I think when after the prequels came out and he just got crucified
Yes.
by the entire world in every language, he couldn't go anywhere without someone wanting to just... There were movies made called The People versus George Lucas. There were songs published on iTunes called George Lucas Raped My Childhood.
Oh, yes, there were.
That man was bullied for doing what he loves,
Even
with his own thing.
Even later in his career.
And, you know, if you watch the interview, when Disney bought Lucasfilm, and there's an interview on YouTube where he's talking to Kathleen Kennedy, and he's like, you know, it's better to be on this side. It's better to be a consumer than to get bullied by the fans. I mean, you just look at his face when he talks about why'd you sell. He's like, well, I couldn't deal with it. Like, he didn't want to deal with it, and nor should he. He was absolutely bullied, and if you think he wasn't bullied when he was a teenager, then he absolutely was bullied for the last 7 years, 10 years after Star Wars, after the prequels. The world bullied him. There's no escaping that. And what do you do? You just got to keep on doing what you do.
Well, here's good. Here's one of the more interesting aspects of what we're talking about today with all these reality shows being launched. Nowadays, being a geek or being a nerd is no longer a bad thing. It's not a badge of shame. Not anymore. Now it's a money-making, exciting thing. If you happen to have nerd quality or geek quality, you are sought after.
You are sought after.
You are sought after. You are desired because of your smarts, your creative approach, and because of the way you understand the way legends and mythology affect us. And you may not even know how to say it outright, but you subconsciously know this quality. You really do know this. So the world is now building a great marketplace around geeks and geekdom and nerddom. You know that?
Yeah.
Really. I mean, not only as the movies, not only have the motion pictures and the cable television shows gone off the scale with big, speculative fiction. Thank you, Game of Thrones. Thank you, Harry Potter. Thank you, Star Wars and Star Trek. Thank you, J.J. Abrams and Joss Whedon and everybody in between. But now the reality shows are catching up. That's why we've got 3 reality shows.
I can't take any more Hoarders.
All within the same
give me Hoarders.
This is all happening.
Give me Hoarders as a geek thing, because Hoarders is just a rotten mess of a fest. A geek hoarder has everything on display
in a nice lit trophy cabinet.
It's usually in a
with
trophy
little
cabinet.
Labels on everything. It's absolutely clean,
and the carpets are embroidered, and the bed sheets are Star Wars.
Yes, it's true. It's true. That's funny.
So
we have an announcement, don't we? Did we just get this news?
Geekiness intelligence.
Thank you, Bovinian. Correct.
Yes.
That is correct.
Again, geekiness goes into intelligence. Again, geeks consume. And when you consume, you're intelligent about the topic.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can't tell you the difference between Quenya and Sindarin.
Yeah.
I can barely say those words.
Yeah, most Tolkien fans say them wrong. Is it Sindarin or Sindarin?
Oh, speaking of that,
how do you say it?
Did you see we tweeted at Rosetta Stone because some fans came up with an idea. I think people would buy a Rosetta Stone.
Absolutely, they would.
Elvish,
but there's not enough content to support.
Could we make it?
Could we make it?
Could we crowdsource with the fans?
We could crowdsource with David Salo and other great linguists who are actually working at the academic level. We could.
Do you think we could create a Rosetta Stone program that makes someone as fluent as possible in Elvish?
Are there copyright issues with the material that Tolkien created?
Well, that's for them to figure out. I think
that's another thing.
I think the Tolkien estate would be keen on doing a Rosetta Stone version for a language in Middle Earth, like Elvish language, because it supports the literary arts.
Yes.
You are reading and you are speaking. You're not mindlessly entertained with flashing lights. Like, it requires further reading, and I think the Tolkien
I
estate
like this idea. Have
would
they ever done a
support it.
Klingon? Have they done a Klingon language version of Rosetta Stone?
I hope not, because I want to be the first nerd
Really?
group. If any fandom is going to get a Rosetta Stone, I think it should
It
be.
should be us. That would be great. Now, on to the question that Murtaugh has very politely asked and waited for an answer.
Yes.
And the answer, Murtaugh, is any news on a Desolation of Smaug trailer? Well, there was a rumor that it was going to be attached to the Tom Cruise movie Oblivion. That is absolutely
That was
not
a
true.
dirty internet rumor.
That was a very bad, dirty internet rumor, and you should
the only rumor that we have that is
get your rumors from us
that
first.
has some
Get them from us.
that has
Please.
some weight behind
Yes.
it is the Man of Steel.
Well, that makes the most sense because
Go see Man of Steel
Warner
at
Brothers
midnight.
Warner Brothers is trying to be synergistic with their properties.
In fact, go see Man of Steel,
at
at midnight
The
on
Hobbit.
IMAX in 3D. That's my
I
recommendation.
love movies on IMAX in 3D. It's the best format for me to see
And-
3D. It's
and-
brighter and better and crisper.
You know
It's
what
a
movie
great
was
image.
shot in 3D? The
What?
Desolation of Smaug. You know what movie's coming out on IMAX soon? in 3D?
Ooh.
I'm just saying that you probably want to go see Man of Steel in IMAX 3D.
That's where you should look. That's definitely where you should look. I agree.
And this is, you know what? I'm telling you right now. For Desolation of Smaug, I am not watching the trailer online.
Hello,
First.
hello, white lady AON. Welcome to the chat.
I refuse to let the internet, YouTube HD, QuickTime, whatever. I refuse to let the internet be my first experience with the Desolation of Smaug. The streaming thing that Peter Jackson did whetted my appetite, but I watched that and I realized I don't want to see this
Online.
on my laptop screen. I want my first experience with actual filmed footage with graphics and everything. I want to see that on the big screen in a dark theater.
I agree.
Full
impact.
What
To have the
happened?
full impact of it.
What happened to all the nerds and geeks that they used to go? They paid to see Meet Joe Black just to see a Star Wars trailer on the big screen.
That's right. A
Because
completely
the
unrelated story.
The internet wasn't. And then they leave. There's tons of stories how people would go buy a ticket, and then they leave after the trailers because they.
That's funny. That's funny.
I don't want the Desolation of Smaug trailer because I think Empire was the best Star Wars movie. I think The Two Towers was the best Lord of the Rings movie. I think a lot of second movies are the best, and I think Desolation of Smaug
will be the best of the three.
will
Hobbit movies.
be the best
Probably.
of the three.
You're probably right. And hey, back to the question Q. Thank you. White Lady AON has already answered the question. Q, Desolation of Smaug trailer would not be in front of the J.J. Abrams Star Trek tentpole film because Warner Brothers does not want to bring attention to a Paramount property that is competing in the marketplace. Warner Brothers wants to have Man of Steel be a special showcase for anything else that is Warner Brothers related. I am very, very curious if anything related.
People have just as much money these days. If
Hold
you
on.
love it, you'll go see it.
Let me say this.
Yeah.
The Great Gatsby is coming out, and I wonder if The Great Gatsby is going to have any other special Warner Brothers trailers in front of it. For example, can I get a sneak peek at the new Man of Steel trailer if I go to see The Great Gatsby? Chances are, yes, very likely. Very likely. You know what I mean? That's how that works. Hey, Justin, you've got a T-shirt to announce, don't you?
I don't know about that, but
You don't?
The trailer.
Maybe you do. Maybe you
Deep
don't.
breath, Justin. Take a deep breath.
Take a deep breath.
Yes.
I need to excuse myself to the facilities.
In
while
the
you
middle
host.
of a show?
Yes, because nature calls. And nobody can wait when nature calls.
Okay.
Look at what you gave me to drink. It's I mean,
you haven't drinking.
Do you expect my tiny little bladder to hold all of this?
Now you know what the road trip to Dragon Con was really like. He can't even get through the show, let alone try a road trip with this guy.
Are you kidding? You've got to be kidding. You've got to be.
Go! Hurry up!
I thought that you were going to talk about something.
Hurry up!
All right, you've got 5 minutes. And you know what?
Jeez. Count down the time.
I'll be back in 2 minutes.
You know, I never would have thought that Leo DiCaprio would be the new Robert Redford, but Robert Redford played the Great Gatsby,
yes, he did.
And now Leo DiCaprio is playing the Great Gatsby. I did not see that. I would have much rather seen Eomer play the Great Gatsby. Man of Steel, I can't wait. So that's go see Man of Steel. And Man of Steel is going to be good anyway. The Amazing Race. So we were talking about shirts earlier. Now that Cliff's not here, we were talking about shirts earlier, and we did that little flash sale for Vote Bilbo. We've got another flash sale up. 24 hours. It's 6 o'clock now. I just put it up at 6 o'clock tomorrow, 6 p.m. Pacific. Tomorrow, we're taking it down permanently. We've got a new shirt up. We think you're going to like it. We think you're really going to like it. This has been on the front page of Reddit. This has been on a lot of blogs, and it was designed by our One Ring regular, and we're gonna link to him. So look out on our Facebook, Twitter, and sign up to our newsletter. You'll see, I just posted a link in our chat room, and you'll see the secret flash sale shirt. It's pretty exciting. I made one a couple months ago, and just for me, and everyone loves it, and I think we're gonna make more. Carl Urban. What is Man of Steel? Bofur's wife. You got to get your head out of the ham. Man of Steel is the new Superman movie. Who plays Man of Steel? Who plays Clark Kent?
A British actor that caused quite a controversy when people said, how can he stand for truth, justice, and the American way? When he's not an American actor.
And touche. How can the quintessential?
What do you mean? Cliff can't know. I know everything. What do you mean? I can't know.
Look, Elijah Wood was Frodo Baggins. So
fair enough.
Fair enough.
We had a couple of very, very big American actors in Lord of the Rings.
It says something that Batman was Christian Bale,
who's Welsh,
and Superman is not American. I think they're getting back at us for having Viggo Mortensen and Elijah Wood and Sean Astin. That's the quintessential British story of all time.
Yes, invaded
and they
with
cast
American
a bunch
actors.
of Americans.
It's Henry Cavill. Yes, it's Henry Cavill.
Yeah,
that's the answer. Henry Cavill. So what is the mystery product? Tedros is asking, what is the mystery product?
Oh, well, if you subscribe to our newsletter, you'll find out. You know, I was just thinking about this, and one of the things that Vote Bilbo really surfaced was the insane fandom certain dwarves have. Each dwarf has, from The Hobbit, has like a specific, has hardcore fans. And maybe I'm thinking over the next few weeks, we'll spend Torn Tuesdays profiling
some of our favorite dwarves,
the dwarves in The Hobbit, and give context of like why is Bofur known for ham?
Why don't we start with Dwalin? Because Dwalin is the very first who arrives at Bilbo's door. And he has a unique sub-fandom.
Is that something you guys want to watch?
Would you like to see a dwarf profile? I also have an idea. You know what I'd like to do?
Oh, yeah, Spider-Man. There's nothing more American than the guy in a blue and a red suit Spider-Man, and he's freaking
Yeah, he's Garfield.
Yeah.
What's his name? Garfield.
Andrew.
Andrew Garfield, who's a British actor.
British actor.
What is it? But hey, it's okay. Listen, here's the thing.
Bye, Tolkien girl.
Bye, Tolkien girl. We love you too. Have a great night.
Okay.
Hey, what if we did a special Twitter event that was me tweeting the entire text of The Hobbit, broken down into tweets?
You can go to Twitter jail for that, but not me.
It has been done before by somebody who was tweeting the entire Lord of the Rings as they were trying to do it before the release of one of the films or something like that, or some special Blu-ray release. I think right before the Blu-ray extended edition, the Blu-ray DVDs, and those Blu-ray discs were put out, and I thought there was somebody on the Twitterverse who was trying to do a special segment. And I think that before the Desolation of Smaug comes out, we should do a special Hobbit Twitterthon where I tweet as far as I can within 140 characters. That would be very interesting, wouldn't it? To tweet the text of The Hobbit. It's very cool. I've seen people do things like this before.
The problem with here's the problem I have with that.
What?
Because Twitter is a social medium that is all about the communication between people.
Right.
You tweet, people retweet, they comment, they communicate, they add to the conversation. Doing something like that is one directional. It's one way. You are taking the text and you're publishing it, and there's
to
have
a major piece of text broken down into 140 characters. That's a lot of fun. And anybody who is following along on the Twitter account, all of a sudden they get caught up in they're getting caught up in this storytelling. That's what it's about. It's about bringing people into the storytelling. I think I like the idea. But it doesn't have much of a two-way or conversation with anybody. It's just, if you do it that way, you're just regurgitating The Hobbit, broken down into little mini bits, in a way.
We published this.
That's fun.
I found this, and it was super fun. I like big
fun.
books, and I cannot lie. And the first thing people call out is that cannot is supposed to be one word. This is true. This is why before I make a T-shirt out of it, I'm going to correct the spelling, and I'm going to add, instead of a pile of books, maybe I'll add a Bilbo sitting in his chair with a book and a pipe or something like that.
I love that idea.
But the original idea was like,
that's great.
Make this a T-shirt. But then a lot of people actually started coming up with lyrics to it. I like big books and I cannot lie. You other ringers can't deny. When a book walks in with some itty bitty race and a one ring in your face, you get sprung. And I thought
that's very funny.
Maybe we should crowdsource a music video. Maybe we can get someone to you and I can write the lyrics of a parody to "Baby Got Back" based off of this. We'll write the lyrics, and then we'll chop it up into segments, and then we'll put that out to the fans, and say, hey,
record your segment.
Record your segment or make a video part to your segment.
Funny.
You know who did that successfully? Star Wars. Star Wars fans actually recreated the entire first two Star Wars by taking chunks of the movie and say, all right, recreate this. And so some people did animation, and they would cut to like some kids' dogs, and then I think I would love to do a parody of Baby Got Back, but I like big books and I cannot lie, and that's what I'm talking about. Ultimate nerd.
I love
nerds create.
I do like the idea. Q was asking, why not have people take turns and do it for charity or something? You see,
I love it.
That is a better variation. My idea is just the raw seedling, the seed of an idea, and I'm not sure exactly how to, interpolate it. If I want to do something like tweeting the entire text of The Hobbit, I would end up in Twitter jail for a bit, and then it would be like an hour or two before they allow me to come back online.
Wait, there's a Facebook jail? Pipskate, talk about Facebook jail, because
is there a Facebook jail?
Twitter jail is actually a thing. Like, if you tweet too much too fast, the automatic bots at Twitter, they flag your account and they say, "Oh, you're talking way too much, buddy," and they limit what you can say. And so and then there's a little flag on your account that says Twitter jail. That they like let you know you're in Twitter jail.
Wow.
And
Twitter jail.
Pipsque's saying, wait, there's a is there a Facebook jail? That would be fun. We're just looking at the chat room again. You can join us every Tuesday here at thewondering.net/live, and we've got our IRC chat, and we've got the video embed, up here. This is
a very fun show. It is always a better show when we get to interact with you guys live. Makes the show wonderful. It's really
so I think we should write lyrics. Maybe this could be the first song written on Twitter. Maybe we put it out there as the next Twitter thing. It's that we'll all start, and then the each lyric that gets the most retweets becomes the lyric. And so I like big books, and I cannot lie. And we'll just keep going
and see what kind of great contributions we get from our active audience. I like that idea. I do.
If you're gonna do something on Twitter, this is the difference. This is what I'm talking about. Twitter, it's cross communication. Mm-hmm. So just taking the text and publishing it, it's not an effective use of Twitter because there's no conversation going on. You're taking what's in the book and you're making it on Twitter. There's no conversation where it's something just, like this where you're feeding back. People are saying, I like that lyric better than this lyric, so I'm going to give it more likes and favorites.
I like that. Can we put Donald Trump? I like Brighter Moon. Neil, you're very funny. Can we put Donald Trump into Twitter jail, please, and throw away the key?
It's easy to put someone like that in Twitter jail. You just don't follow them. I don't think I've ever had Donald Trump show up in my news feed.
Never. I've never had
anybody that retweets Donald Trump,
unfriend.
Unfollow.
I've never had any of Donald Trump's garbage ever retweeted into my feed ever, so I'm grateful for that. We'll have to get Emil to do a live composition of the lyrics. Teterus, you're very funny. Thanks for making a reference to our friend Emil Johansson at LOTR Project blog. Very cool friend of ours.
He's ever since he started that Lord of the Rings genealogy. Basically, it's the Lord of the Rings project is taking all of the connections from the Silmarillion, all the books, everything unfinished, and making a genealogy chart of who's connected to who and who begat who.
It's brilliant. And
all of the data.
My hat is off for you.
It's a data exercise, and it's just one guy in Sweden.
But one guy in Sweden can do many, many, many great things
on the internet.
They can. Hello, WikiLeaks. Hello, WikiLeaks. That's right. One man on the internet can change the world. One of the fun parts about sending out all those T-shirts last weekend was seeing how many countries that fans are in. Wasn't that cool? We have to write the customs form. We have to write everybody's address twice. So we get to know everybody really well by having to write all the customs forms and stuff. And so you just from Estonia to Philippines to Brazil,
Brazil and Sweden. Every Scandinavian country 5 times.
Yes, definitely.
And some of these Germanic languages I just don't understand. Umlauts and
Belgium,
26 characters.
The Netherlands, and then there was Portugal. Then of course there was Brazil.
With a lot of fans in Turkey and Romania.
Hey, Muriel was reminding us of what about the DVD chapters and the naming of them. Remember when we came up with that idea?
Yeah, but no one's gonna buy a DVD anymore.
Retro Boy, did you just bring out the ghost of D-Light? I loved D-Light, and I love
Bootsy Collins,
Lady Miss Kier,
and Bootsy Collins,
and DJ Toa Toa, DJ Toa Tay. And this great band. What a great band from the 90s. D-Light.
Beaufort's ham is such a big thing that every holiday I'm going to have Beaufort's ham. It's not just regular ham, it's Beaufort's ham.
Oh, okay. So, we're not going to be... Oh, you're going to do a special release of that information in the newsletter. Mm-hmm. You guys, we're going to remind you again to sign up for our newsletter. And here's how you do it. Justin.
The OneRing.net. Actually, let's go there now.
Let's show everyone right now the page you need to go to sign up for our newsletter.
Split screen, and
ooh, that's good.
Look at that. We're in the chat room, and we're gonna click to the One Ring, and woo, look at that. Isn't that fancy?
Hello, and you guys can see what the OneRing.net looks like, since we know you're going there every day. There it is.
And where's it at? Oh, newsletter sign up.
Newsletter
right here.
Oh, it's right there on the side.
On the right. It's not even below the fold. Literally,
well, our little image is in the way, so that they can't see it.
Our image is.
Yeah, our image is in the way. So show that. Oh, but don't show that. Oh, you're showing the Hobbit. Oh, be careful what you're showing.
The okay, let's put it right there. Woo! Right
there it is. That's better.
Email address. That's how you subscribe. Newsletter is gone. We're just getting word that newsletter is out and newsletter
the newsletter just got sent out.
But we're going to be doing more flash sales. I'm telling you, you want to subscribe to our newsletter because C2E2 is coming up. We've got some cool stuff to announce there. We're doing this flash sale. We're going to be doing more flash sales. We're going to be doing more cool events around the conventions that are kind of like secret shows.
Ooh, yes.
Like, we don't want to necessarily announce it to the public and have a bunch of, like, whatever. We only want to reward the hardcore fans. No. Like, one of the things we want to do is, like, have, like, a secret meetup.
Ooh, that's a great idea.
At San Diego.
Great idea.
Where, like, you sign up to the newsletter and, bam, we're going to tell you the location of the meetup the day of. So, it's ready to go. So,
that's going to be really cool.
So you want to sign up. So newsletter sign up is right here, and we're going to sign up quick beam at the OneRing.net and subscribe. And hopefully this works just like that.
Ooh, and very nice.
An email was just sent to confirm your subscription. See, it's that easy to sign up
for our newsletter.
One Ring newsletter.
Yes,
it's right below Gollum and Badali.
Oh, that's excellent. Well, we have a lot of exciting things coming up. A lot of exciting things. Is it true that this weekend is the C2E2 Chicago event?
C2E2. Our panel is on Sunday, I think. Wait, let's go to the tape.
That's 5 days away. 5 days away.
C2E2.
Oh yeah, let's show everyone this.
Okay, so C2E2. It took me a while to figure out what C2E2 was. Chicago Comic Con and Entertainment Expo.
Yes.
So Chicago Comic Con, C2.
Yeah.
Entertainment Expo, E2.
Oh, so that's supposed to be squared. C squared, E squared.
Yes.
Got it.
So Chicago,
C squared, E squared.
it's basically Chicago Comic Con. Oh, did I just see Natalie Portman? Ron Perlman. Nope, that's Natalie Dormer.
That's the girl from Game of Thrones.
Let's show what's going on.
Oh, it looks like look, James Cosmo, Patton Oswalt. He's genius.
Chad Coleman. We're not in Hellboy himself. Who's coming?
Ron Perlman.
Speakers. Let's see where the One Ring is. Speakers.
Those are individuals.
Mm-hmm. Martin Kleba. Oh, he was he was the short guy in Pirates. So what's happening? Ooh, panels.
Panels and screenings, the Sunday schedule. We're going to show you the Sunday event right here.
I think it's on Sunday.
They usually do put us on the funny day.
Map your show. Let's see.
Oh, look at all those programs they have. And they have a planner. You can add it to your planner. So
this is pretty cool. Chicago C2E2 is run by the same guys that do New York Comic Con.
It's a great show.
And they get their act together. Crowdsourcing your way to success.
Bruce Boxleitner doing an autograph on Sunday. I love him. He's great fun.
Isn't he?
Yeah.
Felicia Day doing a signing. R.L. Stein. Daniel Logan. Oh, wasn't he? Daniel Logan was in Star Wars.
Yes.
What was he in Lord of the Rings?
No, Daniel Logan plays the young Boba Fett.
Can
Remember?
I search? I thought he was in another movie, though.
It's not on Sunday, then.
Search all panels. Let's just search.
And do a quick search for...
This would be awkward.
Search for the word Hobbit.
Hobbit. Good idea.
Yes.
Search.
Bam. Oh, and what do we find? Hobbit headlines.
We're the only Hobbit thing at Chicago Comic-Con. Look at that. You just saw it happen.
The only result.
Only.
And it is Sunday. Sunday at 12:45 in the afternoon. You guys in the Milwaukee, Chicago area? Anybody around Saugatuck? Anybody near Gary?
12:45. Get a one-day pass to come to the Hobbit. We're the only Hobbit thing at Chicago. I'm trying to.
Not
should
surprising.
I go?
Yes. You should.
I don't know.
It's going to be super fun. It's a fun event. The C2E2 is fun.
It's a super fun.
And can you see it? The description? You guys were going to show you what it says right here. The Hobbit is here.
With Entmaiden and Corvar. Corvar, the head of all things One Ring.
Showing this. I'm going to show this to you guys. You can see it right over. There you go. And it says, The Hobbit is here. For more than a decade, the OneRing.net has brought fans worldwide the latest happenings in the world of Tolkien in books, live events, and film. After a great start, Tolkien fans are eagerly awaiting the next 2 installments of The Hobbit, and Torn is in the middle of the action. Peter Jackson, longtime friend to Torn, is back
on the DVD.
Is back in the director's chair. Yes, you are too.
You're on the DVD.
You're on the DVD. We're both on the DVD.
The back of my head is on the DVD. You're on the actual. I can see your
for heaven's
face.
Sake. I didn't
on
sign
the Hobbit Blu-ray DVD.
But I didn't sign a likeness release form. How'd that happen? How did that happen? Expect to be informed and surprised and thrilled with the rumors and developments for the next 2 movies during this 1-hour panel. We'll see you in Chicago, guys.
We'll see you in Chicago.
I won't be there, but I think Justin might possibly be there.
Maybe. We'll see.
Very exciting.
Gonna try to get out there. So that is what's going on in Hobbitland. You know, that's we've got 3 shows catered specifically to fandom. That y'all should try to be on, like especially Geek Out. I know you want to host a show, but if you've got a special reason to a special love of Tolkien, you know, there's so many heartwarming stories that you found when producing Ringers, and that we've experienced going across the country of, you know, sisters or moms or parents taking care of their disabled siblings, and through a passion of Lord of the Rings, both you know, family members come together and are able to cosplay together and go to conventions together, even though life might be a little more stressful and difficult. There's so many good stories out there that Geek Out could really be inspiring about, of like, you know, showing,
yes, indeed,
you know, like show a hardcore Ringer fans, and maybe there's an element of, you know, familial, you know, just stuff out of your control, but the stories of Tolkien kind of keep the family together and keep your spirits up.
They do,
and
indeed.
We've had some personal experiences, you know, even among the One Ring friends and family, that you know, there's a lot of great stories out there, and I think Geek Out is going to be a great show, with or without Cliff. I think any of these King of the Nerds show and the Quest are going to represent fandom in a positive light. And it may seem exploitative, but at the end of the day, it can only help build the community.
Yes,
you know,
I agree.
As much as
I agree.
As long as the One Ring's been around since 1998, there's still people that have never heard of us, you know, and maybe young people that have just discovered The Hobbit, and they're like, where can I go to be part of a community? And, you know, they don't know about
That's
the
right.
One
Yes.
Ring. And so we're getting stories like this all the time. So anyway, that's our show.
And it's all
try out for these shows.
It's all about bringing your best foot forward. I am trying to bring my best foot forward if I have, you know, any chance of being considered as a co-host for that show. And I am unafraid and I'm undaunted, and you guys should be too. I tell you what, we are being celebrated in this culture. In this day and age, unlike what it was 25 years ago when I was a kid, it's a really good thing to
Get
be
a
a geek.
passport, Beaufort's wife. If Beaufort's wife commits to going to C2E2, I'll commit to going right now.
Yeah, you should. Absolutely. And as I was saying, it's a good thing to be a geek. It's no longer a bad connotation. It's a great thing to be a geek. So embrace your inner geek. Wear your badge proudly.
And here's our super secret thing, right?
Oh yes. Oh, I knew we were gonna.
24-hour flash sale.
I knew we were gonna show this. Here it is.
24-hour flash sale. This is gonna go offline at this time tomorrow, 6 p.m. tomorrow.
Jenny, Pete, I know you'll
Maybe
appreciate.
a little earlier.
You'll appreciate the Beatles reference here. Here we go.
This is now online for 24 hours only. That's it. That's all.
Can you copy and paste that URL into the chat?
Yeah, we just copied and pasted it into the chat.
So
if you're watching the archive of this video, you're out of luck. You missed it. Again, sign up to our newsletter. You'll know about these flash sales. But you want this. This was on the front page of Reddit. This hit all the blogs.
This was on the front page of Reddit?
This was everywhere, and it was designed by a One Ring regular. And when we reached out to him this week and said, hey, we're going to do a 24-hour flash sale, he's like, send me a shirt and keep it up.
Wonderful. Wonderful. That's a community blessing, that someone is generously donating their artwork. This is fantastic, and it's a great...
I personally am going to give one.
I want one of these.
All those guys.
It's an homage to the Fab Four. They are the Fab Four, according to us.
All four of those guys on that shirt are going to hand receive one of these shirts, and you can be one of the... If you get one and wear it to the next convention, I might not have them done in time for C2E2, but this is the flash sale. It's online right now.
So only 24 hours.
Only 24 hours. We'll make as many as we can, and we'll ship anywhere in the world. And Cliff's going to help me ship it.
I will, absolutely.
You loved it. You loved seeing, I recognize that name. You wrote notes on the packages.
I did. Because when I'm addressing the shirts, I put on that big latex horse's head so that nobody knows it's me.
Wasn't that funny?
Did you guys see that? You guys saw that on Facebook, on our timeline. But I really do want to recognize our audience because they keep us going, and you guys are really fantastic. Thank you for being with us on today's Torn Tuesday webcast.
Yes.
Live from Meltdown Comics, the absolute mecca of all great
the home of Nerdist and
all great geekdom.
All geek and nerds.
Here in LA.
Here at Meltdown, things are created. Again, geeks consume, they buy comics, they buy all the toys, the vinyls. We've got Hobbit stuff down there, the little figures.
Yes.
The collectible card game.
But we haven't
even started.
We have some of the Obey shirts.
You can buy all the One Ring merchandise here at Meltdown. It's the only store in the world.
We haven't even brought up the new Cryptozoic game, the big new Lord of the Rings deck building game.
Deck building game.
Such a cool design.
That's a future episode as well.
Yes, we need to get the folks on Cryptozoic to come in via Skype and help guide us through.
Meltcomics.com. So follow Meltdown Comics on Twitter. Follow the One Ring Net. One Ring Net.
Is it at Meltcomics? Oh, it's the Twitter at Meltcomics.
Meltdown Comics.
Oh, it's Twitter at Meltdown Comics.
And the website is Melt Comics.
Melt Comics is www.meltcomics.com. And to follow the OneRing.net on Twitter, you do at
the One Ring Net.
The One Ring Net. And to follow me, you follow me on Twitter at QuickBeam2000. That's what you can. And you can follow Justin at
just the One Ring. I only want to be known for the One Ring Net. Yeah, Vote Bilbo is the highlight of my life.
You're an amazing guy. This is an amazing guy. Thank you for helping launch our show today, Justin. Thank you. Thank you for all the technical wizardry behind the scenes. It was very nice of you.
I couldn't do this without you.
I know that I couldn't do it without you. So, we are...
the Batman.
And the Robin. We are the Siskel and the Ebert. We are the yin and the yang.
I haven't put on that much weight, have I?
No. I'll be the Ebert. You can be the Siskel.
That don't work.
That means you get to go first.
Anyway.
Sorry. Sorry about that.
till next week.
We are the Laurel and Hardy of
Lord. That still doesn't work. I'm putting more weight on every time you speak.
Tom and Jerry? Okay.
Holy smokes!
Heckle and Jekyll. We are the Tom and Jerry of
Biffer
geekdom.
and Bofer.
We are the. Where's the Bomber fit in? That's a
Yeah,
triad.
what's the with the weight jokes? Come on.
Balin and Dwalin.
All right.
I'll be the old one. You can be the young, muscular one. How's that?
Thank you.
Is that better? Is that better?
We'll see you next week on Torn Tuesdays.
Balin bows.
Every week.
Thank
Tuesday,
you. Thank you.
5 p.m. live. Chat with you. TheOneRing.net/live.
It's wonderful to have you guys on the air. As always, thank you, and we'll see you next week.
Bye bye.
Bye for now.